man upstairs.
And to our team, where you at? We would not be up here if it wasn't for you guys. We're up here representing you today. We love you.
So I want to take you guys down a path that means so much to me. My childhood. So, my mother was extremely successful without a college education. And my father was self-employed and had such a flexible schedule. And they gave me an amazing childhood, and I wanted that for my family someday. So right out of high school, I jumped into the workforce, and in the blink of an eye there I was 2 years later, 21 years old. Self-employed, earning 6 figures, a flexible schedule, phenomenal health. But what I didn't have was a husband or children to remind me of that true purpose. So instead, I let my passion for helping people fuel me into a job as a personal trainer, where I was working the first hours of the day and the last hours of the night. I quickly let that childhood dream slip away. And that is when AdvoCare found me, and I'm so thankful that it did. I was approached by Natalie Cowan. Thank you, Natalie. And she showed me what she was doing to earn extra income to provide more time. So I followed in her footsteps, and without hesitation, I jumped in. In my first month, I made $600, a big intentional. And I said, what would happen if I doubled that? What would that mean for my future? So I did what I think a lot of us do nowadays. I jumped right into social media. I hid behind my Facebook, I hid behind my Instagram, and I started to build a business. I started retailing products. I started creating my own wheel. So I thought. That is when Greg Smith reached out to me, my mentor, and he showed me what I was doing was not sustainable. You guys, listen to me. You cannot reinvent the wheel. It's not gonna happen. I got very intentional right away in the people's lives that meant the most. I was not polished, but I was very passionate about what I had. And I showed them whatever they thought was going against them, time debt, financial debt, not having a social media platform, or being an introvert like myself. That is okay, because they are raw, real, and relatable. They are perfectly imperfect. And if they can do it, then so can anybody else. And I instilled that belief in my team because they sure couldn't do what I was doing. And they started building their business, and they started duplicating. And when that happened, and they started fighting for their purpose, and we fought for their purpose, I earned a couple all-expenses-paid trips. But the trip I will never forget was a trip to the Greenbrier, where I got to take my father, he's here, with me, and he's not been on a trip in forever. And I took him. And the last night at dinner, I sat next to Stephen Whitwell, and he asked me a question. He said, where do you see yourself going with AdvoCare? At that moment, my chin started quivering, I had tears in my eyes, and I knew right then and there what I needed to do. And I had to let go of my ego-driven business and give my life to AdvoCare, where I could help so many more people. And by doing this, I was given the freedom of choice to pick up the phone, call John, who lived in Houston, Texas. I was in Ohio, and I asked this man to marry me.
You know, they say, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. We've all heard that one. You know, I went to college. I got the degrees. I served in the military. I worked as a firefighter and a paramedic, a personal trainer and a pipeliner, all in search of trying to find my true purpose. It's something that I was passionate about and that I love doing. Michelle, she found her purpose. She found her passion. She loved AdvoCare. Michelle believed in AdvoCare. And I believed that AdvoCare was brainwashing Michelle. And that Michelle needed to get a big girl job. Where am I at? and truthfully, guys, I was just lying to myself. Here she was, working on her own terms, and, going on these trips to Europe, and here I was, slaving away, working 12 to 15-hour shifts, 7 days a week, which led me down to Houston, Texas, resulting in Michelle and I breaking up. And still, I refused to admit that all this was the real deal. And by doing that, I was literally just robbing myself of opportunities that many can only dream about. So the day that Michelle asked me to marry her is the day that I laid my guard down. I was no longer going to hide behind these bogus fears and misconceptions that I built up inside my head. And no longer was I going to continue missing memories that my money couldn't buy me back. A fellow diamond and friend, Jim O'Hickey, said the other day, time is a valuable and limited resource. And I wanted my time back. And I knew that if I wanted my circumstances to change, then I needed to make a change. So I put my faith in Michelle. I put my faith in Advocare. And then I got here to Success School. Oh man, I had my world rocked when I got here. I saw a man up here named Danny McDaniels, and he was holding an Impact magazine and a Solution Success DVD just like this. And I knew two things. That Danny had what I wanted, and I was willing to do whatever it takes to have it. And I'm not talking about the magazine and the DVD. I'm talking about the time and the financial freedom and the ability to dictate his own worth. And to live a life that him and his wife, Diane, designed for themselves. I walked out of this stadium that weekend with a whole new vision and purpose for our lives. Advocare, it is not what we do. Advocare is who we are. And we are all one, all 20,000 of us. We're all one, serving the same purpose. And we are so passionate and in love with Advocare and all of you that we can truly say that we will never work a day in our lives.
And if you take anything from what we've said today, we want it to be this. There are two ways that you can live your life. One is living by sight. It's living for that paycheck, for those set hours, and that's okay. But good is the enemy of great. Or you can live by faith, and that's believing in something that you can't even see, that you can't wrap your mind around. But the reward is far more great than anything you could ever dream about. We took that leap of faith. We put our faith in Advocare, and it has helped us pave a life where we get to spend every single day together, help so many people, and we will never miss a moment in our family's lives. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.